back to CoMotion. I am in Michigan right now after making a 4.5 hour drive yesterday after working. So I was wanting to film on the way down yesterday, but I was pretty tired by the time I got to the hotel, so that did not happen. But here it is the next morning, and it is a beautiful 1 degree Fahrenheit outside. But so we're here to pick up a new to me dirt bike. I haven't owned a dirt bike for, wow, probably 20 years, over 20 years since I've owned a dirt bike. And I wanted to get back into being able to do some single track riding and be able to go places with a lighter bike that my Touareg is just too heavy for. So we're going to go get this bike. I'm not going to record, be going to pick it up for the individual's privacy. It is a used bike, but it, from what I can tell, it looks like brand new. So we'll go find out together what it looks like, and I'll catch back up with you then. All right, the purchase has been made. Everything went smoothly. The guy I bought it off of was a super nice guy. Really appreciate working with him. It is now a blistering 18 degrees out. Almost time for me to put shorts and a t-shirt on. So as soon as I get this home, I'm back in Ohio. I should be home in the next few hours, and I will give you a walk around of it. Well, I've only got about 9 hours left of my 9-hour round trip to buy a dirt bike. So tell me in the comments how far you've driven to buy a dirt bike or a snowmobile or something of those sorts. But at least we're the roads are pretty clear. It was pretty smooth sailing, which is really nice. Last 2 weekends ago, we got hit with a pretty big snowstorm in Ohio. So we'll be home in about 2 hours, and once I get the bike in the garage, we'll go over it, because it's much warmer in there than it is out here. So I will see you then. All right, we are back in the nice 65-degree garage. Much better in here. We got the bike back safely. Wanted to kind of go over it with you a little bit. What it is a 2014 KTM 500, and it's the XCW, which is the more off-road model. Now, I do have full intentions of making this bike street legal. I've already been in contact with a couple companies. What I'm finding is that some companies make like a turn signal kit, but then they don't sell a taillight kit, and then other places sell a taillight kit and don't sell a turn signal kit, and so on and so on. But I did reach out to a company that said they are in the next 2 months planning on putting a complete kit together. So we're going to get our hands on that kit when they come out with it, hopefully, and we're going to go ahead and do everything we need to do to make this bike street legal. Now, at least from the research I've done up to this point, it doesn't sound like it's too terribly hard for the state of Ohio, which is where I'm at. I couldn't tell you about other states, but I will try to bring you up to speed on the legalities of doing this to a dirt bike, at least in the state of Ohio, and maybe I can do some research and find out about some other states as well, to see what it takes to make it street legal. Now, I have no intentions at all of riding this thing, on the freeway or anything like that. But what I do want to do is I want to make it that if I need to jump on a secondary road to get from trailhead to trailhead, I'm doing it legally. I just don't want to have any sort of hassles by not doing it that way. So that's the game plan there. So to tell you a little bit about this bike, the EXC model is the model that comes with turn signals, and it comes with the brake lights and everything you need to be street legal from the factory. That bike's ready to go. The main difference between the EXC and the XCW is that the XCW, the first two gears out of the 6-speed gearbox are lower than the EXC is. The EXC, it's pretty much equal between each gear as it goes up. This bike, it's much lower in the first and second gear, and then it jumps up in the third gear. But third gear through sixth gear is the same as the street model. So when you're doing a little bit more slow, rocky, technical riding, the gearbox theoretically on this bike would be a little better for that. An older bike for a few reasons. First of all, these bikes had just really bulletproof engines in them. They were known to be extremely durable. They've actually had more problems with the newer bikes than they have with the older bikes. Now, I do believe they're getting those things straightened out, you know, and they're still making some great motorcycles. But I just preferred to go with something I knew was tried and true. Another reason I went with the older version was because this bike not only is an electric start, but it actually has a Kickstarter on it as well, which can be fantastic if you get stranded somewhere with a dead battery. You now have another option of getting out, which means a lot to me. So that was another reason I went with this older version of this bike. I believe they ran Kickstarters from like 2012 to 2016 on the EXCs and the XCWs. So just to kind of go over this particular bike, which is kind of a nice thing. A lot of times when you buy an older bike, someone else has already done a lot of upgrades to it. And unfortunately, whether you're doing upgrades to a motorcycle or a car, performance upgrades, it doesn't add a lot of resale value to it. So pretty much when you're the second owner, you're just getting all those things for free, which is great for you. This particular individual I bought this bike off of, fantastic person. I really enjoyed talking to him. I could tell that he had taken very good care of this motorcycle and everything else he owned. Just looking around, I could tell he was that kind of a person that really cared about taking care of the stuff that he's worked so hard for. So this bike has had a lot of upgrades done to it, and I will go over them with you now. As you can see, he gave me some brand new parts that he never got a chance to put on, and he also gave me all the old parts that he had taken off. So pretty much every factory part that was taken off this motorcycle to do an upgrade, I have. So I could put it all back to original if I wanted to, which is fantastic if you ever needed to do that for any reason. I know a lot of times certain states and stuff, you know, if it didn't come from the factory that way, then it's no good. So Ohio's not one of those states, but just for resale, keeping all that stuff is definitely a bonus. So let's go over the bike a little bit here. Okay, you can see these are not the factory hand guards on this bike. These are they're the Enduro Pro Bends. I looked them up because I was looking to replace these possibly with a different color, because that orange really doesn't match the orange on the rest of the bike. And they are a little scuffed up. I mean, that's not the end of the world. It is a dirt bike. And then you can see that it has an aftermarket dash on it. Now this dash, I was reading up about it. I was given the manual from the factory when it was new, and I was reading over it. And this measures the RPM of the motorcycle. It measures the temperature of the coolant. It gives you a speedometer, and it also has a built-in GPS on it. Now, this is a little bit of an older model. I don't even know if they sell this brand new anymore. You know, it does maps and all that stuff. I still have to learn about that on this particular one. I'm used to my Zumo XT2 that I have on my Aprilia. Now you can also see that this has the Scott's dampener on it, and it's also got the rubber mounted handlebar system on it, which on these single cylinder motorcycles where you have a lot of vibration, that is a fantastic upgrade. and it's an upgrade that's not cheap. I can't remember when I looked that up, but it was quite a bit of money that I would have had to spend to do it myself. So working around to the front of the bike here, you'll see that the headlight has been upgraded. The headlights on these bikes were not the greatest. They weren't real bright. This is the Baja Pro, I believe, and I've turned it on for just a second. Still haven't been able to do anything outside since we're still sitting on about a foot of snow, but it's starting to melt now. So hopefully in the next week or so I can get out on some clear roads, at least with the Aprilia. But this headlight is way brighter than that factory one was. And that headlight also, I believe, was $400. So that was basically another upgrade that you get when you're able to find a bike that someone has taken very good care of. And again, for resale value, it doesn't add a lot of value to it. Now, I've been in that boat. The last bike that I had that I sold, I did a ton of upgrades to it. And when I sold it, I'm the guy that lost the money on it. So I've been on both ends of that. This is definitely a better end to be on the two. Now, one of the things I want to do to this bike is I want to get the aluminum radiator protectors up inside here. I don't know if you can see with the lighting, but up inside here, I want to be able to replace these plastic ones with the aluminum ones that help protect not only from maybe a stick or rock going through it, but if you drop it, it makes the side of the tank of the radiator much more rigid and much more durable, so you don't end up with a leaky radiator and an overheating motorcycle. That's not a good combo. So to pan down here a little bit, the tires on this bike are, as you can see, they're like brand new. They don't have a whole lot of time on them. I believe they're Michelin front and rear. And then coming down here, you can see these bikes did not come with the skid plate. The skid plate was added. So really nice aluminum skid plate on there. Now I believe this is the original tank. I may upgrade to a larger tank. Just depends upon what kind of riding I end up doing with this bike. Now one thing that was very, very nice of the guy I bought this off of was, you'll see down here, he had bought a brand new chain guide, brand new rear sprocket, brand new front sprocket, and a brand new chain that he could have actually returned, but he was nice enough to throw those in with the deal. So I will be putting all those things on in the near future. Trying to go slow here. Now, one of the things that I think just about everybody that owns one of these bikes does is upgrades to the seat concept seat, because the factory seat on these is just not very comfortable. Now, I do have the factory seat. It is right there in the box, and it is like brand new. It must have been taken off the bike as soon as the bike was purchased. So it is like a brand new seat. Now, this is the GPS for the aftermarket dash. That's the basically the antenna for that. Now, coming around this side, you'll see it has the FMF exhaust on it. Now, what I will say is it's loud. It's really loud. I did look and see they have what they call their dB killer. I don't really want to, I do have the factory muffler that came on it, but I would prefer, this is such a nice exhaust, to leave it on here. But actually, I don't think this thing has, looking at it, I don't think it has any baffle on it at all. I see where the clip goes in. That must be why it's so loud. So I just need to buy one of those baffles that go in there, and they're not that expensive, 40 bucks or something. A lot of times if you're doing trail riding and stuff, you know, one of the things that can get trails and local areas shut down quickly, especially that are in, you know, areas where there's homes and stuff, is having a loud bike. I mean, don't get me wrong, the thing sounds wicked. It really sounds nice. But a lot of times, you know, if you want to get a trail shut down and the neighbors don't want to listen to that stuff, that's the quickest way to make that happen. So So I'm definitely going to be putting the baffle in there and getting the bike much quieter than it currently is. You can see here, there's the Kickstarter that came on these. So it's really nice to have that option. Now this bike does have a fan from the factory, so that helps keeping her cool. You have to tell me in the comments if you think a 9-hour round trip was worth it. I guess I'm probably the only one that can say whether or not driving 9 hours to go pick up a 12-year-old motorcycle was worth it, but I think it was. I got to meet a really nice human being. I enjoyed talking with him, and got a beautiful motorcycle that I hope to get out and enjoy. Now, one of the things I definitely need to do is I need to find or buy a new stand for this motorcycle, because this stand don't lift quite high enough to get the motorcycle off the ground. It's got way more ground clearance on it than the Aprilia does. It lifts the Aprilia off the ground just fine. Okay, well, you have to tell me what you think of this purchase. See if you think it was a wise purchase or not. I make bad decisions all the time. Maybe this was one of them. Hopefully not. But this is the new bike, and I got a lot more plans for it. Some upgrades I'd like to do to it, along with the parts that I've already got to put on it. And I definitely need to buy a stand that lifts higher. I've already been looking at those, because it'd be nice to be able to get both wheels off the ground. This stand's all the way up and the bike's still sitting on the ground. So that's my 2014 KTM 500 WCX, and I hope you enjoyed this video.